Hello everybody and welcome back to TJ's Lego Room. Today I'm super excited to show you my latest creation, the TIE Javelin. It's a mock I did to kind of fix the TIE Dagger from episode 9 in my own opinion. I hope you enjoy it. Let's jump in. So this is the official Lego set for the TIE Dagger, or the Sith TIE Fighter as they're known. The set number is 75272. I am not super huge fan of the design of this particular craft. I think it has a lot of flaws that would be greatly improved if they had made a couple of design choices. I thought that this Sith TIE Fighter was supposed to be the end-all be-all of the TIE Fighters. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. But I decided to put my hand to it and figure out if I could build the ultimate TIE Fighter. Behold, the ultimate TIE Fighter. Made for the Final Order by Emperor Palpatine, the ultimate space superiority fighter in the TIE Javelin. Oh, I'm happy with it. Now, at first glance, it looks pretty similar. We have the triangle-shaped wings, we've got the pod in the middle, we've got the little arms going out to the side. It looks like a triangle-winged TIE Fighter, right? But we've got a lot of awesome things to show you. So let's go ahead and compare this with the other Sith TIE Fighter. As we can see with both of them side by side, there are some blatant differences and then some subtle differences. You can see that on the original Sith TIE Fighter, we have the triangle-shaped wings. They're, I think, a little bit taller than my wings. They have the little winglets on the side with the cannons between them, where I decided to integrate the cannons into the actual winglets. You can see the pods are very similar. We have the same windscreen. The color scheme, I definitely wanted to change a little bit, since this was supposed to be the Final Order's TIE Fighter, not just a Sith TIE Fighter or a First Order TIE Fighter. This is going to be the Culmination Fighter. So I decided to maintain a little bit of the light bluish gray in the wings, as you can see on the side of them. But I definitely went a lot more black on it because I wanted to give that Final Order and First Order combination feel. Now, if we look at the side, you can see I have mine set up a little bit off the ground, so don't let the height confuse you. But from the side, you can see that my winglet is much smaller. My cannon is much bigger than the Lego set. And then I did negate all those gray pieces on the back because I wanted it to be a very cohesive fighter. So I ended up tapering the back there, and then I have those little engine exhausts coming off of the back there as well. Another thing you'll notice is the red stripe around the outside is much thinner on my TIE Fighter, and that kind of goes a little bit towards the stealth nature that I wanted to try to evoke for the ship. I wanted it to almost disappear into space. Another choice as well is to make that winglet a little bit smaller, because on the Sith TIE Fighter on the left, it covers up a lot of the original solar panel, which I thought was a little weird, why you'd have all the solar panel underneath that wasn't really being used effectively. So I tried to minimize that on my TIE Fighter. That's just another reason. Now, if we look at the backs, you can see that mine is very different. The Sith TIE Fighter on the left has the vertical integrated engines on it, and supposedly in the lore, the top and bottom orientation of the engines was supposed to be a little bit faster and make it a little more maneuverable, and that had something to do with the mumbo-jumbo, hand-wavy science in Star Wars. But then on my side, you can see I did go for a little bit more of a traditional look for the TIE Fighter. We have the center exhaust pod, and then what I also decided was to change the engine. I wanted to take the Kylo Ren Starfighter engines and integrate them into all the TIE Fighters. If it was so good and good enough for Kylo Ren, why isn't it good enough for the regular TIE Fighters that we're going to make in order to take over the galaxy, right? And now the top view. Wow, lots of differences here, huh? So the TIE Javelin versus the TIE Dagger. The Javelin is longer. Just like a Javelin is longer than a dagger, right? Just kidding. Javelins are like, 20 times longer than a dagger? But either way, the Javelin is a little bit longer than the Dagger. Now, this is where you can really see the body of that TIE Fighter. It is much larger than on the TIE Dagger. You can see the TIE Dagger has these these little teeny weak points on the connections between the body and the wings. Now, those aren't actually weak. They're still pretty strong, especially on the Lego set. But I wanted to beef that up, and I wanted to make this a little bit reminiscent of Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter. I did keep, if you look at the TIE Dagger, I did keep those little points next to the cockpit to kind of still refer back to that. Although I did want to change this TIE Dagger into the TIE Javelin and make it an awesome fighter, I wasn't 100% comfortable with erasing the TIE Dagger. I wanted to kind of improve on it, keep a couple little things, and kind of iterate. So you can see the body is much bigger. The pod for the pilot feels a lot bigger because it 100% is, and you can see it's also moved up quite a bit more. One of the first details that I have here that are different from the TIE Dagger and from a lot of TIE fighters, let's be honest, is the ability to take out somebody who's behind you. I have these couple small laser cannons right on the inside there. Those are supposed to be rear defense turret blasters. I guess it's not really a turret, just rear defense blasters, so you can kind of warn people away from coming at you. So here's a close-up of the winglet. You can see they've got the spring-loaded shooter right there inside the two winglets. That was a pretty cool design. I actually really liked this idea of having your weapons in between the two different wings, and the idea of the two wings is still pretty cool to me, but just practically in universe, I'm not really sure how those would work. And then here's my version. You have the extra large cannon on the outside. I did keep the idea that the little winglet portion that expands out would be some sort of a deflector shield, and I think that worked out pretty well. I like how much smaller mine is, but I also like the idea that it feels a little bit more powerful and less cheap than making a great big projector that covers up half your wing. It feels like this is more streamlined, a little more precise. And now, of course, here we come for the real reason you're here, which is, why is it different than the TIE Dagger for real? It lands itself. So those extra exhausts that it has on the back of the wings are exactly positioned so that it protects that back point of the wing from getting damaged. And it's really cool because I actually can flip it with just one hand, as you can see here. It took a couple of times of practice, but it's actually pretty intuitive. I have these two modified tiles, I think is what they're called, that have Technic gears on them, and they flow very well. Let's see if we can get a close-up here. So it's a little hard to see, but I've got those two Technic tiles right there, and I push them up. You can see them really well, or a little bit better when they actually slide and move. They're a little sticky in the shot just because it's rubbing on the tablecloth a little bit, which was an unforeseen problem. So you can see I can push one up or one down and have both the wings activate because they are connected all the way through. So here's just a couple more shots of me flipping the wings. You can see that I am 100% using it one-handed. I adjust my hand just a little bit when I'm opening versus closing it, but it is extremely easy to do. The biggest question for me was how to get the wings to stop at 90 degrees. I'm going to show you that trick right now. So you can see I pull the winglet off, and on the bottom, I want you to pay attention to those two 1x4 plates that are on the bottom, kind of reflecting there on either side of the center circle brick. Now we come in here, and you can see I've got two corner tiles that are square and then two corner tiles that are rounded. Now those are actually what stop the wing. So if I pull this down, you can see it droops. And that's because there's nothing stopping it anymore. The winglet actually stops it from moving too far and keeps it on 90 degrees. So if you take those two 1x4 plates and put them on the winglet on either side here and here, then when you flip it, it stops them on the corners. So you can see that, where I got my fingers here, that's where the plates go. So when I pull it up, boop, the corners hit, and when I put it down, boop, the corners hit again. It's actually I was pretty proud of how I came up with that, and that I was able to come up with it. I'll show you how the winglet moves. You can see how the winglet bounces a little bit when it hits, and that's because the winglet is actually what stops the wings. The wings would rotate a full 360 degrees forever if you wanted them to. Now, one thing you have, I'll show you real quick here, the durability. This thing is actually extremely durable, and it doesn't flop around a ton either. I'll show you some stuff. But while you're in your TIE Dagger and you're flying around and doing your little flippity flips and floopity floops, the biggest question of every TIE Fighter is, how do you get out of the cockpit? Because these things sit clear off the ground. You can have ramps and ladders, but I decided that ramps and ladders were a little impractical. So I decided to do this. Boom, baby. That's right. Disembarking drop-down pilot. Now, it does fall just with gravity, and you got to pull it up and push it back in. It only studs in with 2 studs. On the bottom, you can see the tiles there and the single studs at the back. But it fits perfectly into the TIE Fighter. And I love playing with this particular mechanism. So I'm going to show you in the inside real quick. Another thing I'm really proud of is the cockpit. So in the new TIE Fighters, they have a dual yoke system. So one hand on each stick instead of like a single one, like a jet fighter or the X-Wings. So they have 2 of them. And so I actually put in a couple of displays. They actually don't have anything on them right now because they don't have printed ones. But I have these 1x1 trans-red tiles that I put on these little stands here, and they act as the displays. But when you drop the pilot down, those displays actually stay in there, and the only thing the pilot has control of are his little control sticks. So when you move him back up in, it still lines up perfectly. He's right in there. I actually did set the pilot back a half a stud inside just to make sure he got the clearance. As you can see, he drops down pretty fast. We don't want him catching on stuff. So that's that was kind of important to me to make sure that he wasn't going to have those kind of issues. So here is the button for dropping it down. So you see I've got those 2 trans-clear cheese wedges, and then I have that plate upside down there. Boom, you just push that trans-red 1x2 plate that's sitting upside down, and that's your button. You just push that thing down, boop, and it just falls right down. Those cheese wedges go in, you do touch those cheese wedges with your fingers, but it actually doesn't hurt at all. My kids have done it a ton, and they say it's fine. So let's go ahead and talk about the wing mechanism here. So if I pop this panel off, I can kind of show you how those side things are put together. It's actually extremely complicated, and it took me so many tries to actually get that right. Oh, I've got bricks going in every direction. I've got studs going in every direction. I've got Technic pieces and bars and pins going every direction. But luckily, there are some really useful pieces here. So up at the top, I've got this bar that goes through. It's kind of the support bar, but on the end, it's got this turntable that pops up here on the screen. And that turntable is the magic piece that makes it all work. That turntable connects to one of the, a 20-tooth gear, and then goes into a 12-tooth on the inside on the center section that makes that work. Those Technic turntables are amazing. I absolutely love them. And if I have more ways to do it, I will definitely buy more. But when I bought them for this particular mock, it cost me a couple bucks, I think, because of shipping and because the guy had a minimum buy, and I ended up buying things that I didn't really need. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so now let's take off the back here so you can get a look at how that bar goes through to those 12-tooth gears. So if I pop this back section off, you can see those 12-tooth gears right inside there. And then here's a nice close-up of those Technic tiles, the Technic gear tiles. And they actually sit right there. Oh, sorry. I'm going to struggle with this. These things don't like to hold up very well. So they just fit perfectly inside there. And I would like to say that I planned it so that those gear tiles worked perfectly to turn it without tons of problems. But to be completely honest, this was a happy accident that just was so perfect. So if you look, the tops of those gears actually sit flush with the with the plates on the top, and then when I flip them up, here, hold on here. When I flip them up, there we go. The bottoms also are flush with the bottom. I have no idea how I got lucky on that gear ratio, but it just ended up being absolutely perfect. Well, that is the final order TIE Javelin. I hope you guys really enjoyed looking at this. It's by far the coolest TIE Fighter that I've ever made, with all the different functions inside, from the rotating wings, the fact that the winglets don't rotate when the wing does, and then the drop-down cockpit so that the pilot can exit and disembark is just such a cool thing. I'm so excited I was able to do it. I want to thank all you guys for all my subscribers for getting me motivated and saying, hey, you can keep building. We like what you build. I really appreciate it. On that note, I will catch you guys next time. Gonna try to maybe put out a video every week this month, since everybody's on lockdown except for me, as an essential part of society and infrastructure, as a new construction plumber. I am not getting any time off. So hopefully this tied you guys by. I really appreciate everything you guys have done. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the subscribers. It's just really cool. I'm so glad that it's resonating, that my creations resonate and are cool enough for people to want to check out whenever I make a new one. So thank you so much. We'll catch you guys next time in TJ's Lego Room. And until next time, or until the world ends, goodbye. Yeah, we're skipping that.